Salvete omnes, salvete amici, nomen mihi est, Decimus Aurelius Ingeniarius. Hello, good day, good evening, everybody watching this live stream right now from wherever you're watching us in the world. This is the Nova Roma Twitch channel, and we are here tonight with episode 9 or session 9 of the Republic of Rome board game broadcast. We've had a little bit of a break and we're back, and we're all pleased to be back. And so we have our 6 senating faction leaders out the back door, ready to come into our Senate and crack on. So we're about to start the Senate phase of turn 7 of this game, and it is a very, very challenging time for Rome in that there are 5 wars on the cards that Rome needs to deal with, plus the civil war, of course. So we've seen Appius Rufius with his rebellion quite aptly timed, with a relatively moderate army there along with it. So we'll see whether he is successful or not tonight as well. So let's not delay. Let us take a moment to transition, bring our senators in, and let's get session 9 started. Hang in there. Don't. All right, we are now looking at our game board, and we can hopefully see all of our senators down the bottom. Yes, we can. Let's do a check to make sure the field is working. It looks like it's working to me. That's brilliant. Can I have all my senators do a sound check and say salvete?
Salvete.
Salvete.
All right. Good. So I'm hearing some really nice things in the background. That's perfect. Now we are in the Senate phase. We just concluded the population phase at the end of the last turn, and because once that was resolved, we are well and truly in the Senate. So you guys, and I, and everybody else watching by now knows how this works. So over to you, Rome Console, to kick off with our first order of proceedings for the Senate phase.
Alrighty. I'll have an unofficial come back, technically, but we haven't. Back again. Time to get to chaos at hand. Straight away. So, a 14. Let me grab my tokens. As well as Aurelius, number 12. Right. So, I'll call for votes. So, from the Aquila.
Okay.
Claudia, what's your votes?
So we're going for the new consoles.
Yes, that is correct.
I'd like to hear from the nominated parties about what their policy may be before I can support.
We will wait for the votes to be placed by Marco Elliot, and then we'll have that slight interruption.
I'm just rolling over. Okay. Okay, we're going to put 10 votes in favour. There we go.
Right. Speak about any of their policies, by all means, go ahead.
Sure. As one of the proposed nominees for consul, my clear direction is with a overwhelming number of forces at Rome's gate, we'll proceed to nominate a dictator who will then proceed to defend Rome against the barbarians and the rebellion forces. Also, to give some additional insight, I think we should also clearly look at the unrest level, and I'll state that I would like to push to be the Rome consul. So, in the unlikely case that the dictator is unable to return to Rome to do the state of the address, my senator has a popularity of 4, which would be a good modifier for when it comes to addressing the people.
Good point.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly in agreement with the dictator.
Thank
I
you,
feel
thank you.
that's a important step for Rome. So I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement, and yeah, I mean that's the crucial thing to agree on. So that's all I have to say.
Is there a candidate for dictator that
Um,
is likely?
I can't really remember all the senators off the top of my head, but I'm sure after a moment's pondering together, we should be able to find one somewhere. Whoever's most suitable is all I can say.
Yeah, I think the characteristics that I'll be aiming for is both military prowess as well as any popularity that they would have towards the people.
Yeah, military prowess I think is probably the most important factor, considering some of these wars are, quite strong.
And the dictator would then, well, let's face it. One of the candidates for dictator is Fabius Maximus, Senator 2A,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to hear from Quintus what his war-winning strategy might be.
Well, I spent a bit of time while I was relaxing in my little town, my little house, if you will, pondering about possible strategies to win. There's quite a few ways to go around this, but with a brief discussion beforehand, before we decided to voice our opinions to the people of Rome, I've had some agreeances with Marcus Decimus. So I have a lot of the same similarities as what they would also go for. And I'm quite open to talking about what's the best possible way to win this, to better Rome's future.
I guess just that's just a question for me is what war do you have your eye set on? If you have a war in mind.
So the main war I have my eyes set on at the moment, apart from the rebellion, is the Sicilian slave revolt, which we could make an inactive war. Some discussion with the hopeful that the governor be able to war. And if that is the case, and we can just send a sole governor, we might be able to go over the Jugendtime War at the same time. Since the governor would have political forces.
Yeah, I think a 3 war strategies is the appropriate one.
Okay, cool. That's all I've got to say on the topic.
It is open up to a lot of discussion, so. Alright, I'll let us finish the voting. Aurelius?
16 in favour.
Appius Rufius, your votes?
2 in favour.
I shall put my own 5 votes in favour. And I'd like the votes from Numerus Aurelius.
That'll be 17 votes in favour.
And Marcus Decimus, your votes as well.
15 votes in favour of the proposal.
So vote passes without any hindrance.
Okay.
The easiest votes yet.
Yes, particularly for this group.
Yep.
Quintus has a
that's
way of focusing the mind.
That's the easiest one. Honestly, I had about 15 different sessions rolled out of people we could go through. I was ready for this. Cut off on the first one.
Melon.
All right, Numerous,
Yep.
I think we'll just have our quick chat. I was thinking of doing the Rome console. The only thing I think might be worth considering is if we wanted to do field console with my just 1 extra military strength. Just wanted to hear what you thought.
That's what I was thinking when you said it. I guess it depends. So if we prosecute the slave revolts, then what would be the other one you think? Just general,
Well,
probably the Jurgathine, was it? I mean,
Yeah. Well, we probably won't get that choice since we'll hand it to the dictator. But my initial thoughts is the slave revolt would be just the
defend it,
reinforcing
yeah.
of reinforce Sicily.
Yep.
And then we'll attack one of the other ones.
Plenty of ships. That's up to you, I reckon. I think that they're low power enough that I don't think that 1 point will matter. So.
Okay, then if we don't think a military strength is an issue, then I might take Rome Consul, just as I was saying before. It'll keep us safe in case that the dictator doesn't return to be able to do the address.
Yeah, I think it's
of
probably
the
safe.
state.
Yep.
Yeah,
Easy peasy. Agreed upon then.
Agreed.
All right.
Alrighty, that was a productive conversation. For those playing along at home, we've just made sure that our outgoing consoles, or there's really only the one, already has his prior console marker, which is nice. And now the newly elected Rome and field consoles, or the new console elects, have decided amongst each other who is going to be who. And they are now doing some administrative things, primarily giving themselves some extra influence, which is definitely much desired in this game, which is good. So they're each getting +5 influence added to their cards, and we'll give them just a moment to complete that administration and also confirm for themselves the next step, which is really about consideration of a dictator, and well and truly within the bounds and scope of appointing a dictator. So they don't need to worry about the Pontifex step there. There is already one elected, so they are going to now consider that dictator appointment. And then you can see the conditions there in purple for those unfamiliar. So it's got to have 3 or more active wars, or 1 with a strength greater than or equal to 20. Once the dictator is appointed, they'll also get appoint a master of horse, which helps to with strength. And noting here that, of course, the dictator can't have any current office except for censor, with the understanding that they obviously can't be elected censor when that time comes. So let's hand back over to the floor, and temporarily at least to our new Rome console, which is Aurelius from Marcus Decimus's faction.
Yes, thank you very much. Our very first step, as we were discussing before, is we'll be looking to discuss the need of a dictator, which I think has been clearly established at this stage. So we'll also be looking to discuss between the 2 consoles about who we would like to elect, or appoint, I should correct, at this stage.
Oh man.
There we go.
You
all right, Martha, with you? You okay? We can hear and see you again, so that's good.
Excellent. Okay, I figured it out. It's heaps easier. Sorry, the phone was a bit rough. I don't know.
That's okay. You've worked out the technical difficulties. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I think the most important thing here is going to be military strength.
Yeah.
So I'm just having a glance around at candidates. 2, 4, and I guess we should consider possible masters of horse as well. Tier 3.
Yeah, I think clearly from what we can see on the board, the maximum number with dictator plus master of horse would be 10. I believe we at least have 2 sets of 5s.
Where's the other 5s? Sorry. Oh, the Scipio.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably. Well, this is obviously a decision for the dictator, but I'm assuming if we're going to reinforce with the governor, we should send one of those 5s away. So the other one would be to the governorship. So I guess there's a 4, so a 9 in mind. I think that leaves obviously 1 clear candidate. So, I think Q Fabius Maximus is the go here.
Yeah, the fact that there's also some popularity as well, because that's something that I would lean towards my favor. If we had someone who was like 4 military strength but had like 8 popularity or something, I would definitely have a look at as well. But I don't think we've got anything in that range.
What about Scipio Africanus?
Because he's
got 30, but yeah, I think
yeah, don't want to be doing that.
Well, yeah, Flaminius. I think Flaminius
Yeah.
is the next.
Good
He's got
joke. Good
13. So.
Yeah, good joke. Yeah.
Yeah, but then also like having less popularity and less military strength.
Yeah, I think be my contention. Q Fabius is the way to go. So
Okay.
if we're in agreement, then let the dictator come forth.
The consuls are in agreement. We'll be appointing Q Fabius as Rome's first dictator.
Okay. But after we resolve the latest thing that we've just seen pop onto the field, very sneaky. Again, so for those playing along at home, this token that says "Die Swine" on it has been perhaps well timed by Appius Rufius, and I guess that's relevant because Appius Rufius is currently the faction with the rebels rebelling against the Senate, and he's used his last remaining senator in Rome here, Quinticus, to commit an assassination attempt against our newly enshrined dictator. So this will be certainly interesting, depending the outcome. So from here, and noting the players can, of course, play some cards, I'm now going to bring everybody's view up home to what we call the assassination table, which is this little, very simple table, perhaps here. And we can tell on the left-hand side that there can be modifications to what is a simple 1d6 roll, which will be committed by the assassin in just a moment. And you can see it's quite simple. If he gets 5 or more, the dictator that's just been appointed will be killed, and the assassin gets away with it. 3 or 4, nothing happens, and then a 2 or less, the assassin is caught, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to do. So will be very interesting. So I guess at the leisure of the assassin, he can roll his 1d6 if there's nothing further to be played. So here he goes. Oh man, the assassination is successful. Wow, I tell you what, that's certainly played well for the very well for the rebel faction there. And so at this point, for a rather fantastic statesman too, nonetheless, and that will be a huge loss for the Republic. And I tell you, Quintus Octavius won't be happy with that himself either, let alone the rest of the Republic and all the loyal senators. So we'll take a moment here for Quintus Octavius to say goodbye to his statesman. Now, he's a faction leader, so thankfully he won't lose the underlying family card, but the statesman will head to the discard pile. And subsequently, that senator will lose all of his stats and respective cards. Yes. And as with that, the Senate will be unable to appoint a new dictator either. So the Senate is without the powers and the strength of a dictator and master of horse going forwards. So that was maybe, I dare I say, in the works, or at least the rebel faction certainly may have been planning that one. So we're doing the cleanup. Sadly, saying goodbye to a quite a brilliant statesman for the Republic. So this is a challenging time. So we see a clean slate card, thankfully saved by the faction leader card there. And yes, the poor statesman will head off to the discard pile. So it looks like in this case then that the highest ranking available official will stay with the Rome consul, and then we'll essentially move on to censor election. So we'll give it back to the Rome consul.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Then we'll proceed.
I'm just going to quickly interject here.
Yeah.
And I shall also be pulling out a assassin card.
Oh, okay.
Love to see it.
Okay, bang. We've seen a reply assassination. Now, some of the others may be seeing all these other tokens flying around. Let's quickly explain those before we resolve the current assassination, which appears to be a revenge assassination. So where you see the assassin figure here on the ground, that essentially means or particularly this one over here, means this faction can no longer commit an assassination, and subsequently this token here means they can no longer be the subject of an assassination. But that doesn't prohibit them from also committing an assassination as well. And in this case here, there is a revenge assassination occurring. Now, who is the one committing the assassination attempt there? Quintus Octavius? Of course, you've pulled out the marker. It will be Terentius. Doing so, lining up, that helps us to see, which is good. And attacking the last remaining, I guess, loyal senator, if you can call them loyal, which is Quintus there. Now, I've seen some assassin cards fly out. Who owns which one?
I own both.
Right. Yeah, interesting. And I guess there's no rules about playing more than one. Let's look at a card and have a read through again for the benefit of everybody at home. So there's one. The only reason they've got different border colors is purely because they're from different era decks. And as we know, we are now in the Middle Republic for this game. So it says support for an assassination plot is widespread. Add 1 to your assassination attempt, and any bodyguard re-rolls. And we haven't seen any bodyguards yet. And you play before the resolution and discard after use. And we haven't seen the resolution yet, so we're all good. And it is cumulative effect with other bodyguard and assassin cards. So that has indeed confirmed for us that he can, in fact, play both. So he's been sitting on these for an opportune moment and in good style, as he's done previously. We're about to see some results. So, again, he is looking for a favourable outcome, a 5 or a 6 here. We will see what happens. So, with that, with a +2 modifier in our minds, let us allow Quintus Octavius to roll his 1d6. Oh, there it goes. Didn't even need the cards, but nonetheless, they've been used. There we go. So we've now seen another successful assassination. Wow, what a bloody session this has been. Classic Roman politics at its finest. There you go. And both those cards head off into the discard pile. You see there? Fantastic. Wow. Let's tell you what, it's been a punishing game. We're just making sure that that good statesman had to go to the discard pile, so we won't get to see him again. And now we've got all these markers everywhere showing us that factions can't be the subject of or do any other assassination attempts. So now that means that Appius Rufius, I guess, has no more loyal senators in Rome. And at this time, I just want to check something.
Him a leader, right?
Sorry. Yeah, you've been saved by your faction leader card. That is correct, and that's a very good observation. So you haven't actually lost your final guy. It's just tokens. Yeah, resetting. That's correct. Yep. So that's lucky that you had that, I suppose. And I guess, but that was also probably planned. All right, he's reset. Okay. So now we can probably continue on back to the Rome console.
Then I shall proceed. After a quick double murder that seemed to have occurred, or double falling out of windows by accidents.
Yes.
Can I ask a question before we? Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to check. So, does Rome fall if we have 3 active wars, or is it
no
4?
4 or more?
Right.
At the end of the combat phase.
So if we defeat the rebellion and one other war,
correct,
we're still hanging on by everything else.
What happens when if he doesn't have anyone left in Rome?
Need to
hang on a moment. Marka Wedia is talking. I don't think the Rome console can hear her. So if the Rome console,
sorry, I have one other quick question that I was just confirming. What happens when he has no more senators left in Rome?
Can anyone else hear Marka Wedia?
Oh, sorry. Is that working? Is that working now?
Is that working now?
We can hear. We can hear.
What happens when he has no more senators left in Rome? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know. Yeah, I could hear you, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Guess I'll just do a refresh as well. Guess maybe we should all do it.
I think he just rolls on with no votes in the Senate.
Okay, but there's no other kind of consequences that anybody that I've missed.
I believe if his to rebellion. If I don't know, I'm not sure actually. I don't.
Because I know you can't then collect money. You know what I mean? I know you can't do some of the other things. But is there anything that I might have missed regarding consequences if he has nobody else left in Rome?
I'm back. Sorry for talking over you, Marker. Yeah, I couldn't hear,
That's okay.
hear you.
You need to be in Rome in order to make assassination attempts, for example.
Yes. Okay, cool.
But it's moot because he's got his leader anyway.
Yeah.
So, and that can't be killed.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's no way of. Okay. Cool. Back to you, Rome Console.
No worries. Our next phase will be looking to elect a censor. So let's just have a quick look at everyone who is eligible. So as everyone's got the prior console marker that is at Rome, in Rome.
Can I just point out it's likely that the censor is going to become the highest ranking available officer during this Senate phase?
Well, yeah,
possible,
when he
possible at least.
Just remember, when the highest ranking available official leaves, that will be the end of the session, the Senate phase.
Mhm.
So if the Rome consul puts a proposal through in which sends himself off to war, obviously after or at the same time as the field consul, that will then conclude the Senate session. So just be mindful of that.
Yep. And we would have to send the field console first anyway.
Yes.
All right, so let's just have a quick look around.
I just want to let you know that the current censor can be voted back in again, so they would be
Yeah.
eligible.
Who is the current?
I believe it's
Far side, Aquila faction.
Flaminius.
Yeah.
Mine. Over my side.
How come these people are ruled ineligible?
Oh, sorry, did I got ineligible? Sorry,
He
I was
was
trying.
actually eligible.
Yeah, I was using it for the opposite effect. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. As long as we have that understanding, that's fine.
Yeah. I think I'm going to put forward a proposal that Aurelius of the Aquila faction, number 9. So let me grab a nominated. Will be put forward for the censor.
Yes.
Aquila, I'll hear from your vote first for this proposal.
10 votes in favour.
I'll hear from the Corona faction.
16 in favour.
I'll hear from the Luna faction.
2 votes in favor.
Next, I'll hear for Quintus Octavius.
4 votes in favour.
I'll hear from Numerous Aurelius.
17 votes in favour.
And I shall place my 15 votes in favour for the proposal. The proposal passes.
Wow, what a clean, another clean proposal vote go through. That's brilliant.
At this stage, I shall hand over the Senate to the censor.
I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, for electing me. I am having a look around, and everybody, I think, will be able to put away their corruption markers because we will not be doing any prosecutions at this point.
There's been enough death and punishment.
I feel like
now make sure you add your new 5 influence to Aurelius as well, Marco Wedia.
Yeah.
Good. The censor has made the call. Everybody can remove their corruption markers.
We thank you for your generosity.
And the Fuscus passes back to the Rome consul as presiding magistrate of the session.
All right, so our next step is we need to elect or recall any governors. I don't think we necessarily need to recall anyone. Specifically, we need to put forth governors for 2 provinces that are going to be under attack during this next combat phase. So clearly, some deliberation is due. The governor to Sicily is perhaps going to be sent some reinforcers, perhaps going to be using the forces they have already, but likely in good stance to, if nothing else, hold on to their land. Probably the elephant in the room is Illyricum, which is almost guaranteed to fall. So I'm going to put forward a proposal that the governorship for Illyricum be issued to Quintivus.
Quinticus. Quinticus. Yeah. Interesting name, isn't it?
Number 18.
Which
Marker, I'll hear from your.
Sorry, can I just ask a quick question? If that's all right.
Sure.
This isn't the province that the war's being fought on, is it?
On one of them, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
The
Oh, yeah.
losing
Sorry.
war.
No, I remember. Okay. All good. Thank you.
All right. Marker, can I hear your vote?
10 votes in favour.
Tiberius, I'll hear your vote, please.
16 in favour.
Nice and quick.
Luna faction, I'll hear your vote.
2 in favor.
Quintus Octavius, I'll hear your vote.
I'm going to stall for slightly 2 seconds so I can finish typing. Okay. I shall put my 4 votes in favour. Thank you.
Aurelius, I'll hear your vote.
17 in favour.
And I'll place my 15 votes in favour for the proposal.
All right. So with that, I'll go find Quinticus in his armour. Still haven't put the search function on this yet. I'm very slow. Let's have a look. Where is he hiding? There he is. And he's off to Illyricum. Is that correct, Rome Console?
That is correct.
Pop him out there. He'll get himself a nice fancy away from Rome marker as well. And the Illyricum province can go out to the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the Illyricum?
We're putting it on the map. Appius Rufus.
on the map.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
I will do it. Mm-hmm.
And that makes us consult the map every time something governorship happens. Yeah, that's it. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also your yellow banana out there as well as another method of showing us who's in charge of the province. Cool. All right. I think he's off. Administration's done. Cool. Rome Console, your floor.
All right. Looking at the next one, we need to put forth the governorship for Sicily. Again, this is another province that will be under attack. So I'm looking mainly for senators with large or strong military.
Scipio Africanus would love to sally forth one more time in the name of the Empire.
I know, but
Sorry, the Republic.
That is a possibility.
Fabius would also like to put forward his own name.
So the reason why people are stalling and thinking about it is obviously because that proposal put through by Tiberius Cornelius there to put Cornelius Scipio out back into the front line puts him at, I'm going to say at risk, but perhaps on the precipice of automatic consul for life appointment should he gain the necessary extra influence there, and he's not far off that. Very, very close. And so I guess what Marcus Decimus is now looking at in the rules is to see if he gains a victory as a governor, does he acquire popularity and influence as a part of that result? And I can't recall off the top of my head, but I think that's what he's checking.
Yeah. I don't have the paper one in front of me, so if anyone else would like to help me confer with that.
So we can check our rules as well. Is that
the case?
provincial? We're looking at provincial wars. There we go. Combat defeats victories. Here we go. So I think it's rule 2.02.414 is what we're looking at here. So a provincial victory has no effect on the unrest level, and there are no spoils of war gained. Governors that win a provincial victory receive standard influence and popularity gains.
Yeah.
So there is your answer, and it's not the one that you were hoping for. So
There you
that
have it.
means that he could win and gain consul for life should he win a victory in Sicily, assuming the Senate doesn't send an army to fight the Sicilian slave revolt. So if the Senate sends an army to fight that war, then the governor won't have to. So there is a consideration. But
what's the influence? Isn't it half the war? Like the war power?
He doesn't need much.
He needs 5.
Africana, I would like to. I really appreciate your offer to head off to this governorship, but with this rebellion that's coming up, in case I or perhaps the other consul would fall in battle, Rome would need you to remain strong to lead the home defense down the streets, building to building. So.
All right.
he seems sedated.
So he'll lead the insurgency.
Yes. All right, I'm going to put forward that we send Fabius, or the son of the previous senator that we had, who is only taken the seat as of this seating. I wish to send him away to Sicilia.
Apologies, I had to duck out for a second. I missed who it was we voted on.
I'll go grab a nominee marker.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be sending him to Sicilia to be ready to battle against the slave revolt. Marker, can I hear your votes first?
10 votes in favour.
Tiberius, can I hear your vote, please?
16 in favour.
I will hear Quintus Octavius votes.
I shall be putting 4 in favour.
Do you still have 4 votes?
I do. I have 1 extra knight, which gives me my 4th.
What do you have 1 extra of?
I have a knight.
Oh, you do. Sorry, I didn't see the knight. Thank you.
Aurelius, I'll hear your vote.
17 in favour, thank you.
Oh yes, and also Quintus from before. I asked for your vote.
Sorry, let me drag mine. 4.
And I shall place my 15 votes in favour for the proposal. Proposal passes.
Okay. So was it Fabius we're sending out now in his armour?
Yes. Do you want me to search for it? Because there is a search function.
There we go. Fabius. Got him. So I beat you to it anyway. So off to Sicilia. And bring out one of those to show who that is. And then you can put a glorious away from Rome marker on him as well. And then you'll need to update your vote tally, of course.
All right. Senators, we're now into the any-all phase of the Senate. So I think let's go through. Let's do a discussion of what we have, what we're looking at, and what we're facing. And then we can look to see what can be done or what should be done. Clearly, the fall of Rome would be if, obviously, the rebels march on Rome, as well as if we have 4 or more active wars at the end of the year, end of the combat phase, maybe more accurately. So I think clearly, at the very least, we should attempt to prosecute 2 wars. At the lightest, it would be prosecuting a war and then hoping that the defense of Sicily does very, very well. But I think that's being a little bit too bold. But that's something that we can certainly discuss going forwards. We should be aware that our current unrest rate is at 2. If we consider that at least 2 or maybe 3 of these wars will go unprosecuted, as well as there's a possible drought effect with the Sicilian slave revolt, unrest could definitely be a feature that's going to be coming on the next couple of turns that's going to occur at Rome. Let's look at our current active forces. What is it? 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 land strength. I think the rebel has 13 as well. 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 12 if
Could
I
I
count.
just interrupt for a second?
Sure.
A question for the Game Master.
Aye.
Since I no longer have the Legion's marker due to my death, I can no longer recall the Legion, can I?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah, and so losing your legion.
I really therefore that you would appoint him as a dictator. By the way,
So yeah, as far as I'm aware, because you've lost your Legion's marker, that doesn't provide you the means to recall him. So that Legion stays with the rebel.
Good times.
Yeah. So even if you wanted to recall him,
That sucks.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so by my count, it's the current rebel strength of 12, and
13.
our 13. Did I miscount? What am I miscounting?
His leader.
Ah, yes. Sorry, I was just thinking land strength rather than actual force. So yeah, so let's bring up the calculator, and then we can just at least have a bit of a think. Likely, the military leader that we would send against the largest military strength that we have to face is likely the Rome consul. So I think we'll go through with our military estimations under the assumption that the commander's military rating is going to be 3. Let's assume we've got the full, what did I say, 13 for our forces, if we were to send everything without raising anything. And the enemy forces is 12 with 1 leader. So unmodified, if we send exactly what we have right now, these would be the results.
We can do stalemate, which you know. Because is a rebellion considered an active war, or is it?
Surely it would.
I thought the rebellion was considered like a war.
it is
Yeah.
considered
you have
a war.
to
Yes,
you have to attack
Okay.
this now, or you forget any possibility.
Yeah,
of winning.
yeah.
correct.
So
It must
was
be
this our
attacked
best?
every turn that it's alive.
So this was our best case. We basically had.
This is kind of worst case at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is if we don't raise any more forces, is what I was saying.
Dang. You should have sent my guy. Maybe he would have been a bit better.
That's all right. We're going to raise forces. So.
Yeah. I just want to kind of make sure that there's clear steps of seeing where we are and then proceeding forwards. So basically, this would be right now if we don't raise anything.
But
Keep
one
in
question
mind
though,
the 3
where
that
can
we
you
can
raise where can you raise additional forces?
They're going to
From
raise
all around
the
Rome.
veterans. They're going to raise
Yeah.
those disbanded veterans.
Disbanded
Yeah.
veterans.
That's all they've got. So 3. That's all they could raise.
It's gonna be fun.
2.
And raising these would mean that they would go to normal status again, or what?
Yeah,
Correct.
Because they
Correct,
would...
sir. That is correct. Yep.
So raising the 3 and sending it all to the rebels would give us an 83% chance of victory. If we did that, then it's purely waiting on the slave revolt to fail.
But if you send them all to the rebel, you can't take this commander's military value. It's not possible according to the rules, because you would have to send the field consul first and not the Rome Consul.
Correct.
Or at least at the same time, and then you would have to meet the minimum force requirements.
Unless they volunteer, right? It's only if there's a minimum if they don't agree.
Okay.
So the great field consul could sacrifice himself against the waves of the rebels.
Yeah,
Or
he can
of
go first
any
without,
war.
yeah. Or any war, yeah.
Yeah, which would make another war unprosecuted. So that can be something definitely to discuss as
We can also
well.
keep in mind, if I do, as the governor, end up defeating the slave revolt, it becomes an inactive war.
Well, it sounds like you're relying on that, because if you're sending all of your available forces against the
Seems
civil
like it at the
war,
moment.
you need the governor to win his provincial war. Otherwise, that's the end of it.
Yep.
So yeah, so let's go with the idea that we have to send the field consul. Then we lose 9%. That's actually fairly considered.
Is it definitely the case that rebel legions count towards the legion cap?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I think so, because there's like a fixed amount of tokens.
I would believe so, because they were formerly our forces that are now converted.
There is a fixed amount of legions in the game, yeah.
Correct. 25 tokens to be precise. That's all there is. Even more challenging.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
just let's not have it rely on me again this year.
History's not in your favor.
No, it's not.
So the current discussion is, due to the processes of the Senate, the Rome consul needs to be sent first. The Rome consul has 1 less military strength than the Rome consul, and
you mean the field consul, right? Sorry,
then the field. Yes. Sorry. The difference 1 military strength makes changes the win-loss by 9%.
Yeah, just send me to whatever war you want.
As long as the field consul is happy with it, like I certainly want to make sure that everyone is
approaching
aware.
it delicately.
Yeah. Then
I'm not afraid of death, buddy.
Is that the field consul's willing and able?
Send me off, Senate. They're ready to do my service.
Hey, send him off. In death, he becomes legend.
Yes, exactly right.
All right. Well, then, before I start doing any let's start. I think with a very easy one.
There's toilets on the counter. Make me one too.
Oh, me too.
The rest, the rest. All right. I'm going to put forward a proposal that the Senate raises 3 legions. I would like to hear Marker on this proposal.
I have 10 votes in favor.
I'll hear Tiberius.
16 in favor.
I'll hear for Quintus Octavius.
So I need your exact wording of your proposal.
My exact wording is that Rome will raise 3 legions.
Okay.
Also, the last 3 legions that can be raised, just for those playing along at home.
Yep. Every family would put forth their son. One son for Rome.
All right. I put my 2 in favor.
Aurelius, I'll hear your vote.
That will be a resounding 17 in favor.
And I shall place my 15 in favor. The proposal passes. May I have someone reduce our treasury? And I'll go grab.
Is it double the cost due to the fact that they're legion?
I don't believe.
No. Normal cost. Normal cost.
Normal cost. Okay.
I think the main thing it does is confirms that those people who have like the loyalty tokens can't bring back the veterans now.
Correct.
So what's it? It's 10 at the moment. It's not 20.
Correct.
Right?
10 each. Yep, that's correct. 30.
We've got coin to spend.
Have we dealt with this natural disaster, haven't we? Because that was sitting there. That'll get cleared. Yeah, we have. I just wanted to double check
Yes,
that.
I believe so.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah,
it just
I-
hovers until we clear.
I'm pretty sure it destroyed mine, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I believe it
That's
did.
right.
We still have the concessions up here too, as well.
Yeah, we'll have concessions to hand out as part of our business. I'm also considering dealing as much as we can with the unrest. So currently, I'm having a bit of a look at the land bills, and anyone in the Senate feel free to raise their opinion as we have a bit of a look as well, what they feel about the unrest level is, and what the Senate can do before entering combat to help deal with that. Because we do have coin to spare, we just can't put that coin in towards troops. So I feel like it might be worth putting that coin elsewhere.
Do we have that much to spare though?
Not a lot,
We've got to
especially
consider
if
each war is 20 talent, so that's
Yeah,
at least
and
60. We've
look,
got to take
I'll-
the possibility of an unaccounted 50 talents.
I'll donate some money next year at least to do at least one land bill type, whatever you want.
well, if you personally have coin, then what you can
I'll
do is
donate money too.
towards the games.
Yeah, well, I can't do that
Yeah,
now.
I'll do that.
Yeah, but it'll be before we do the speech.
Oh,
next
I'll
year.
definitely do that then, 100%. If we get to
Okay.
that point, I will
Yes.
be throwing the money at the plebs.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, I'm probably okay with what our unrest level is going to be
'Cause,
then.
well,
Mhm.
we've got to have a minimum of approximately 110 coins spare due to the fact that we need to have 60 available for 3 remaining wars, a possible 50 remaining in case of a natural disaster or anything else.
Mhm.
So 110 is a roughly out safe number. We can go a little further if people donate. However, we've got to be ready for something unexpected.
That is fair. Then we won't touch any more of the treasury. Let's have a look at the console, the concessions. We need to hand out as well. Let's have a look. I would like to hand these out fairly evenly with the factions that already have Senate concession cards. So one concession, 2, and 1. So
I mean, I just lost a tax farmer. I'll gladly take one.
So those playing along at home, the current Rome consul and presiding magistrate is now considering proposals for the distribution of the 3 concessions sitting in the forum unallocated.
Okay, then I believe for my first proposal, I'm going to put forward that Tax Farmer 4 will be issued to
Plateus.
Number 17. I'll put the farmer here. Can I hear from the marker faction first?
10 votes in favour.
Can I hear from Tiberius?
16 in favour.
I hear for Quintus Octavius.
I put my 2 votes in favor.
I'll hear from Numerilius.
17 in favour.
And I'll place my 15 votes in favour.
There you
Proposal
go.
passes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mainly because I think it's quite fitting. My next proposal, I'm going to put the Sicilian grain to go to Furius, who's the current governor of Sicily.
Oh, very apt.
I'll
You
hear.
thought about that.
I'll hear the proposal the vote from Marker.
10 votes in favour.
I'll hear from Tiberius.
16 in favour.
I'll hear from Quintus.
I put my 2 votes in favor.
From Numerilius.
17 in favour, thank you.
And I shall place my 15 votes in favour. The proposal passes.
Excellent.
Everyone voted yay, correct?
Mhm.
Flying through this quickly, so give me a bit.
No worries. Then for my last proposal, I'm going to put that the shipbuilder concession comes under to Sulpicius. Number 15.
Sulpicius, I believe it is.
Sulpicius?
Yeah.
My tongue's not working. I'll put forward the marker. All right, marker, may I hear your votes, please?
It was on mute.
Tiberius, I'll hear your vote.
16 in favour.
Quintus, I'll hear your vote.
Sorry, what was this one? What was this card again? Sorry, was it shipbuilding?
Shipbuilding
Correct.
concession.
I'll put my votes in favour.
Numeralius, I'll hear your votes.
Oh, that's got to be 17 against. No, I'm just teasing, guys. 17 in favour.
And I shall place my 15 votes in favour.
If you voted against it, it wouldn't matter anyway. But
No, every vote matters.
it's a show of solidarity. That's what matters.
All right. Is there any other business from the Senate that wishes to be raised before we go on to the matters of military campaigns? If there's nothing else, then I am going to put forward that the field consul, with his own blessing, be sent with 0 troops to go fight the Agurnian War.
You fine?
I've been calling it Jurgentine.
Jurgentine? The Jurgentine War.
Jurgentine, something.
As long as he knows where to go, he'll fight it.
Marco, I'll hear your votes.
What are we voting on? I was just trying to figure out the chat thing. Apologies.
Can you please just say to, other
I'm
stuff?
going to war.
We're
You're going to war. Yes, you are going to war.
am.
Yes.
Yeah.
10 in favour.
You need to take 2 fleets, don't you?
Let's have a look.
True.
True.
Need some fleet support.
Okay, I shall put that in the proposal.
Oh, yeah.
It needs fleet support for it to even be viable.
Do I need to raise more fleets then?
No, we have plenty of fleets.
How many do we need?
You only need 2.
No, I mean for the other war as well.
For me, I believe you need to send 1 garrison to.
No, in that case, yeah, there you go. Since that proposal wouldn't work, we might as well change it. Whatever we send, it's going to end likely with a defeat all losses, rather than throwing the 2 fleets away.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Cut your losses. I like it.
Send me to the Gallic War, guys.
Yeah.
Spain, what a beautiful place to die.
Let me
Then
fix the proposal.
I will nullify that proposal since it was incorrectly notarized. I wish to put forward a new proposal that we send our field consul to the First Gaelic War.
10 votes.
Yep, Marco, 10 votes in favour.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Tiberius, I'll hear your vote.
17 in favour.
I'll hear from Quintus Octavius.
My 2 votes in favour.
I'll hear from Aurelius.
20 votes in favour.
And I shall place my 16 votes in favour of the proposal.
So what's that? That's an extra 5 votes, okay.
Rome salutes you, brave Achilles.
All right.
All right.
We'll put Achilles out with his armor just for.
I've just got to
complete the
ask
process.
for clarification.
Mhm.
I need to have one garrison sent to the Sicilia, right? Is that
Why is
correct?
that? You don't
don't
have
think
to,
you-
but it would help a lot.
Yeah.
No, like a garrison fleet or garrison legion.
I don't think you don't need either. You'll
But
be
it help a
able
lot,
to.
though.
I know, but we also saw that it's a 9% difference for the rebels as well.
Yeah. So let's not. All right. I just wanted to clarify if that needed to be put forward.
Then lastly, I put forward that the Rome consul with all active land legions go forth to prosecute the primary
Give me
rebellion.
numbers.
14 regular legions, 1 veteran legion.
So 15.
I think it's 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
15.
12, 13, 14. Oh, yeah, it is 14. Yeah, 14. Yeah. 14 and
14
then 1.
legions, 1 veteran legion, and no fleets.
I'll hear marker for the proposal.
Sorry, 10 in favor. I think I already popped it down.
Yes, I'll hear from Tiberius.
17 in favour.
I'll hear for Quintus Octavius.
I put my votes in favor.
I'll hear from Aurelius.
17 in favour.
Is
And
that with
I'll
your
play-
adjusted vote tally there, Numerus Aurelius?
Yes, that is.
Perfect.
And I'll put my 16 in favour.
All right, 67 to 2 abstain and no objections.
With the Rome consul sent away, that leads to the end of the Senate.
Indeed
Round.
it does. Indeed it does. All right. Somebody wants to deploy those
Congratulations.
legions onto Aelius's card out there next to the Civil War. In other words, march them down the street outside of Rome to the open fields facing Appius Rufius's force. This will be truly, truly interesting. Now, wars are fought in the order, I think, in which they were sent away according to the rules, and I think that's perhaps the order that we may want to do them anyway. So we're now in the combat phase, and just before we tack on, let's just check the end of the bottom of our sheet here, that there's nothing else we need to do, really. Now, I do note the note here, and I guess perhaps this is a good time for us just to check the rules. Can we please 100% confirm that we can indeed send the field consul off with essentially no forces? I think you're right in the fact that it just has to be consented, but I do want to check because it is pretty pertinent. It's very important, and it could be game breaking if done incorrectly. So if everybody can consult a rule book,
It is rule 1.09.643. So 1.09.643 minimum force. The Senate may not propose to send a commander to fight a war without his consent unless the combined strength of his force is greater than or equal to that of the war.
Nice.
And any
So-
applicable leader.
So provided he is consented, we can send him with less. That is the case. So cool. Perfect. Thank you very much for finding that so quickly. And we have confirmed that what we have done is legal, because nice for us to know that we've gotten that right at this very interesting time in the game. So that's good. And we've ticked that box. And we have just seen there in that point in the box here for those playing at home, looking at the cheat sheet, presiding magistrate has been sent away, so therefore that is now closed the Senate session. We're now into the combat phase. All right, so what we're now going to do is we're going to set the combat calculator up here with the First Gallic War and the very brave field console Achilles ID 12. So we can see that the land strength of the enemy is 10, and the danger numbers are 13 and 15. Commander's military rating is 2, leader strength is 0. So there's going to be no chance of victory. It is almost guaranteed, just about with 81%, that it will result in a complete and utter defeat, which will be the death of the field console. But as for those that weren't quite paying attention, this is done so they could commit all of their land forces to the civil war, and then relying on the Sicilian governor to win the war there with his purely provincial legions. And that will be a tough battle because there are no garrisons there. So, you know, it would have taken one to double the strength of Sicilia, but the Senate here has thought that it was best to commit it to the civil war effort instead. And as we know that the Senate needs both of those outcomes to be victory. So the civil war needs to be a victory, and the Sicilian slave revolt needs to be a victory. Because if that war card remains at the end of the combat phase, it will be the end of this game for Rome. Rome will collapse under the weight of too many wars. Yes, very, very stressful. Comments in the chat. Okay, so let us now go ahead and resolve this first somewhat sad moment as we see Achilles marching off his, literally just his bodyguards. Yeah.
Yeah, please roll 16 or higher. Roll 16 or higher. So
as we can see here, the die roll modifier is -8, which means we're going to roll 3d6 and then -8 from that number to get our result. And just before that occurs, I'm going to roll up to the combat result table here. Here we go. All right. Field console, at your leisure, please roll 3d6 and let's determine the outcome here.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
I said a prayer for you.
Big moment. Okay, here we go. 1,
I said a
2,
prayer for
3.
you.
Thank you very much. Let's go. Oof, wasn't enough.
Utter obliteration.
5? Did you say you rolled a 5 out of 3d6?
Indeed.
Wow. So
Yes,
that's off the
bad to
bottom of
do.
the table.
That's snake eyes, guys. Snake eyes.
He wasn't just defeated, folks. He was red mist. That's holy dooly.
I've gotten the bad luck out of the way.
Saw something
and, Rome console.
Yeah.
It's on to you now, buddy.
Wow. So that war will remain unprosecuted. We will say goodbye to Achilles from Numerius Aurelius's faction. We'll give him a moment to say his farewells there and clear his card. The field console will go back. As such, the concession, I can help you out there, will... he's an old bloke too. So we're sending our oldies off to war. Concession will head to the... off into the forum there.
He went to chat for a peaceful resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And Achilles goes off to the Curia. All right. And subsequently, another adjustment of your vote tally, albeit not too stressful at this point in time. Okay, so that is the first conflict we've had to deal with.
Unrest level must be increased by 2 immediately.
Yeah. Right. So on the nature of a defeat, we see the unrest level increase by 2. That is right. So it goes from 2 to 4. Good highlight. War remains unprosecuted. There is absolutely nothing surviving because there's not much went with him. Really, just him and a couple of donkeys. All right. From here, really, I guess there is an order, but I'll let the Senate decide here. Would you like to see the civil war battle done now? Would you like to see the provincial combat done now? Either one needs to be a victory. Which one would you like to see first?
Civil War first.
I think it sounds like we're going to go with the Civil War, and that's as the rules would dictate for us as well. All right, let us do the civil combat. Roman versus Roman. Let us now set up our combat calculator with the necessary detail. So, commander's military rating is a 3. Legion and fleet strength, let's just do another count just to check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 is the count that I have.
Agreed.
War strength of the enemy here, or the rebel, includes the commander's military rating of 1 as well, and not forgetting our veteran legions. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 will be the strength of our rebel or enemy forces here. And there are no disaster or standoffs numbers. Sorry, somebody say something? Cool.
Yeah, I was just saying you accidentally put wait, who put?
I see what you're saying. Yes, yeah. Leader rating 1. Good. Yep. Well done for checking that. Yeah, we don't want to add, because we do have the leader ratings box, so we're going to put that there. That's good. So there'll be a dice roll monitor of 6 here. So the Senate is always considered to be attacking, even though this person is a player. Right. So there's an 83.8% chance of victory here, provided the roll is good. So at this point in time, now that we're satisfied that the numbers are correct, let's roll up to the combat results table here and get ready for the roll, and over to Rome Console to roll his 3d6. $15 plus 6. That's quite tidy.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very clean victory there for the Senate. No losses for the Senate here, and that will mean goodbye to the rebel and the secondary rebel with a defeat there.
Do our forces come back to us?
So,
no, I imagine we slaughter our own forces.
yeah, that's true. It is
along the Appian Way.
Now let us just double check, because it is worth noting, because it is a little bit different. So we're going to pull up that component in the rule book, and then we're going to go to that page 19 in the rule book here, and we can have a look at the conditions here. So Senate victory. Result of victory means the revolt has failed. All rebel senators are killed, and all surviving rebel legions and fleets are returned to the active forces box. So now so in any other, situation here, this is interesting how to think about this. So we see no losses. So does that mean all the rebels' losses also return to the active forces box because there were no losses on the Roman side? This is interesting to think about. So I'm reading in particular 1.11.371. So that's 1.11.371 in the rulebook here. So rebel legions and fleets are returned to the active forces box. All surviving rebel legions and fleets are returned to the active forces box. Now that we get to lower the unrest level by 1 if somebody would like to do that. Good.
So
Done.
Yes. No, wrong way. No, it's 2.
No, it's
3.
It's 3.
Oh, somebody got to it before me. Okay.
Okay, so the commander of the Senate's army increases his popularity by half. Yep.
Right. So continuing on. Yes. So the commander of the Senate's army increases both his popularity and influence by half of the strength number of the rebel army he defeated, which actually includes the one of Valerius. So noting the strength was 13, half that rounded up. Rounded up. Yes, that is correct.
So 14
rounded up.
7.
Okay.
So plus that amount for your popularity and influence.
So combat.
Time to rebel.
So would he? So as the rebel leader would technically then, if I'm reading the rules correctly,
Right.
would flip the table backwards. So our victory would be his loss. His loss, since we went past the 18, that would be 4 fleets and 4 legions. And we would have to then subtract that from his current total, because it says surviving legions, but it also says if legions are destroyed down just a bit below in the same paragraph, which would make me think
My
that
gut feeling is they're all dead. We slaughtered everyone to the man.
I don't know. You read it and interpret as you will, and just tell me what you think, because it seems like it would just be a flip of the combat results.
Yeah.
So he would then lose all 4.
I think we'll have enough time to be fact checked for next turn, because I don't think this decision will affect anything.
Right, so that's right. So we can see what he has there, but because we had an absolutely flawless victory, in my mind that suggests that he lost all of his forces, and so I'm inclined to have them destroyed at this moment. But look, we can reverse those for a future session if necessary. But for the now, we'll see those return to the Legion pool.
All right, cool.
So what the question is, what kind of losses should be applied, right, to the rebel forces?
Yeah, that ultimately remains as the question.
Through
Really,
combat
how
losses.
much of those forces does Rome get to keep now that he's been defeated? Is really what's happening.
All the rebel forces. They keep all the rebel forces because of
No,
rule 1.11.37.
I'm actually say they are all dead, because if you flip the combat results table on your side, so yours would be if you lose, you would lose all of yours. If there's more,
there's an
greater than
explicit
18.
rule about this. Any combat losses called for by the combat results table are applied to both armies,
right?
Except in any defeat result, the rebel force suffers no losses.
And that makes sense. So what does that mean for our circumstance?
That
then
you will
again-
keep all the forces of the rebel army.
However, it then says underneath in 1.11.371, a rebel is considered defeated if all his legions are destroyed through combat losses. We technically achieved a 21, which is an overall victory for us, which means an overall loss for you. An overall loss is a loss of all forces.
Yeah, but 1.11.37 is an explicit rule for the combat resolution phase, and there is an explicit exception in the case of a defeat. Normally, it would what you say would apply, but there is an exception for the case of any defeat.
Is that saying the rebel army loses though, or our army
you
loses?
can read it for yourself in 1.11.37.
Okay, 1.11.37.
1.11.37. Any combat losses, it's close to the end.
So it says except in the defeat result. So that would be defeat of the Senate, not defeat
in
of
any
the
defeat.
rebel.
No, in any defeat or not. In my
No,
rules,
well,
it reads in any
it
defeat.
does imply the Senate, because the Senate is always assumed to be attacking. So when it says a defeat result, that is a defeat result of the Senate.
Okay.
Yeah. So because we always consider the Senate is the attacking army in all cases, including in a civil war. And so when we see the Senate defeated, I guess the rebel army suffers no losses.
However, if the Senate's victory,
Yeah,
it would then
but what do
suffer
you
all
make with
losses.
the last sentence on Senate victory, the next paragraph in 1.11.37.1?
371, the last sentence.
The last sentence for the Senate commander, unless the losses were a result of achieving a victory on the combat results table.
Going back, a rebel is considered defeated if all his legions are destroyed through combat losses. So if we didn't achieve a total clean victory, but there was enough for you to have lost all your legions, but it was still a victory for the Senate, for example, you'll still be considered defeated, because I guess you've got no forces. Destroyed through combat, or he's killed by mortality tit draw. So, but then there's the exclusion.
Mhm.
However, this cannot count as a victory for the Senate command. So that's just talking about the Senate commanders, addition of popularity influence. So if we only destroy his legion. So if it was a stalemate and he loses all his legions, yes, the rebel is defeated, but no, the commander doesn't get the popularity and influence bonus. So you could actually almost get a victory, quote unquote, against a rebel in both a victory outcome on the table as well as in a stalemate result as well, by destroying enough of the enemies or the rebels' army here. Albeit you'd have to have a small army, because you can only suffer a maximum of 4 legions, I think. So
yes. And there's only 4 though, if
right.
all of them, unless you roll high enough or technically low enough.
So at the moment, I'm still under the assumption that we've lost everything on the rebel side, but that's something we can worry about later.
Yes.
It's certainly not going to affect the rest of our session today, and we can certainly follow that up. And sure, the likes of Poach Trout and Scott or Alan Richborough will also double check as well, and we can all confer amongst each other to 100% confirm. But nonetheless, that is a good outcome for the Senate. That's one box ticked of 2. So a little bit of stress relief there. So now let's move on to the provincial war with our governor in Sicilia. So this is for those who are unsure why we're doing this, this is the Sicilian slave revolt. And down the bottom left there, you can see it attacks Sicilia, which is an active province that we currently have. And Fabius is the governor here. So we can see that he has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 provincial armies, which counts as 5 in strength. Plus his 4 there will be, I guess, his total of, really it's a strength of 9. And then he's got his base strength of 2 in Sicilia as well. So we can start to add that to our combat calculator. And the strength of the enemy here is going to be 7.
What I fear we'll just bring up this.
Sure. Right, so checking our calculator. Commander's military rating is 4. Legion strength is 5, 6, 7, so includes the base value of the province. There is 7 and 15, which are the danger numbers we don't want to roll here, so that comes up unlike our last one. There is no leader here at the moment we need to worry about, so we can remove the leader rating, but the war strength remains at 7. And we do have the requisite fleet support here, because we have 5 provincial fleets. So we can support this war. So we're looking at the moment about a 57.8% chance of victory. Otherwise, it's likely to end up probably as a stalemate. I think that's still pretty good odds, and that's certainly what the Senate is banking on anyway. So we're going to see a dice roll modifier of 4 here. So we're going to see a 3d6 plus 4, and it needs to be a victory. Needs to be a victory.
This back on me.
Yeah, so this needs to be a victory for Rome to survive overall. So any final words from the commander, perhaps before we step into this very important battle?
Perhaps the Pontifex Maximus would...
town does... Yep. Pontifex Maximus would be great.
All right. Well, I guess then that we shall offer a prayer to our favorite god, Mars. And Mars, we have already sacrificed for Rome one of our most dutiful senators upon your altar. You have already bequeathed us with a great victory, and we simply ask that you continue your favor towards us, that we may bask in your grandeur as Rome continues. Thank you very much, Lord Mars.
All right.
Amen.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right. Let's see a lovely 3d6, and we'll add 4 to that. Here we go.
The Manus faction is voicing that they don't like the fact it's on them again, but we will succeed.
Duly noted.
Yep.
Clear this out.
He's done it. He's done
Got
it.
it. Yes.
16. Lovely.
We good. We could keep playing.
There we go, folks.
Thank God.
Amazingly,
I'm 1 for
you've
1 now.
achieved.
That was close.
That was remarkably close.
Thank you, Mars.
It was close.
Well done, Mars.
Mars.
So
Thank you,
we
Mars.
see
Thanks, Mars.
2 losses for every of provincial armies to every 1 legion called for. So we'll see 4 of those provincial armies disappear, and it requires 2 of these provincial fleets to disappear as well. I think that's what we saw. 16. Yes, 2 fleets will also disappear
Yes.
as well as losses. And the beauty here is that the Sicilian slave revolt now becomes an inactive war, which is quite nice. So we can bring that back over here, and that's out of the way, which is great. And therefore, that only leaves 3 unprosecuted wars that Rome needs to consider there, which is quite amazing. Now, let us just double check our notes and make sure there is nothing else we need to worry about. So. Now, there's no lowering of the unrest level here because it was a provincial war. So the unrest level will unfortunately stay as it is. And we also need to do a mortality chit draw for the number of units lost, which includes both legions and fleets here. So that's 4.
And the commander does get the bonuses for a victory, though. The state won't, but the commander does. I believe that's what we worked out before.
Yeah, so I think the commander does, which is good. But let's do his mortality chit draw first, just to be sure he even gets it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
So, commander, if you'd like to draw 4 out, what's your number before we go on?
I have no clue, but it's not one of those.
2.
Right,
2, I think.
2 more.
Safe.
Sounds like you're safe. Yeah, you are a 2, so that's good. So you survived the deaths there, which is good. So you didn't die in battle, and right. So you get an additional influence and popularity bonus there, which is nice. Fractions rounded up.
What was the strength?
So really, we can just keep farming these revolts then.
Yeah, if we technically want, just send the province against them.
Yeah, so fractions rounded up of 7.
Here you go.
Fractions rounded up.
So what? We're 4 for each influence and popularity. Okay.
Yep. Excellent. All right, and then that will conclude a very, very tense combat phase. I tell you what, I didn't have high hopes.
One question though: the Macedonian War, right?
Yeah, that really needs to be resolved as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it attacks Illyricum, or not?
It does. So, thank you for the reminder.
I thought it didn't because we sent or is that not the one that was attacked?
That was Gallic.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
Jugentheim attacks Africa, so we don't have an Africa, so we're right there. But the Gallic War takes on the Gallias, which we don't have. Macedonia is the one that takes on Illyricum, so we need to see the first Macedonian attack Illyricum here. So let us not celebrate too early, perhaps, because we may lose another potentially. Noting there is no strength there. So
would that be considered an active war, since it's attacking the province, or?
So it's a provincial war that needs to be resolved.
It could gain the strength of the province, then, right?
It might. I think it will. Yep.
And might it increase the unrest not? No, the unrest will not be increased.
I don't think it'll increase the unrest level.
I don't think so. It's only about the issue is here. Does it increase this war strength?
Yeah, it's only provincial wars. Sorry, it's only non-provincial wars that will increase the unrest level. But you're right. The outcome here, as is quite likely, is that this war will take on the strength of the province, and we'll lose that province here. But perhaps a satisfactory loss, noting the other circumstances that we had to fight.
And I would get my guy back to Rome then.
He will likely die in this outcome.
Yeah, and because he's a faction leader, he will be resurrected in Rome.
Yeah, that's right. He'll actually end up going back to Rome because he's your faction leader.
The immortal senator.
The immortal senator. So
there's had so many children they can't keep up.
Right. So let's go ahead and let's go through the motions here and do this correctly. Let's do our combat calculator here. So we see the commander's military rating is 3. His legion strength is only 2, which is the base strength of Illyricum. Disaster and standoff, we've got 12, 11, and 18, and they've been inserted. Thank you for those that did that with a strength of 12. No leader rating as of yet. It's going to be a -7 to the roll. So when you're ready there, 3d6 at your leisure there, Appius Rufius.
Please roll a 15. That's nowhere near.
We've got an 8, -7. That's pretty hard. So definitely defeat there, which means an automatic teleportation back to Rome.
Yes.
Yay.
Coming back.
The bad news is that we've now lost that province. So these two together here.
And the province will reinforce the Macedonian War, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That is right. We can now see that is a part of the Macedonian War there. There we go. Move that out of the way. We can tuck that away for the moment because we've lost that one. All right. Yeah, interesting outcome. Good reminders, people. Well done. Good to see us all switched on. Done all the provincial wars now. We've annotated the unprosecuted wars, and we have no wars 6 or more.
Unrest.
So what was that?
Right? Would we get an extra 2 unrest or?
No. Only non-provincial wars attract unrest level gain. Okay. Now that we're into the combat phase, let us move into the revolution phase. Golly gosh. Just for the awareness of everybody here, I think we might finish up after the mortality phase today, noting the early start of some of our players for tomorrow, and I think we all need a rest after that very hectic combat phase anyway. So let's go through the revolution and mortality phase, and then we can wrap up our session for tonight. So, intrigue time now, players, to freely trade cards from their hands between each other. So anybody wanting to trade cards with any other player right now?
No.
I see Marta Weddy is all plussed up. She's looking pretty healthy card-wise, but otherwise she doesn't want to trade. Okay, now what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to go moving around, starting with the HRAO. Players may play statesmen and or concessions from here. And I guess noting when I come to the Rome consul's turn, he can talk about disbanding veteran legions if he decides to do that at that time, noting that that was also probably an indicator that he'll probably remain loyal to the state. So, Rome Consul, we start with you.
Yeah.
Would you like to play any cards at this point in time?
I would like to play the I Get a Veteran Legion card.
Yeah, certainly can. So that's something we didn't do is from the forces, we didn't turn one into a veteran. So I guess you get to pick, I think, from what I understand. So if you'd like to pick which legion you'd like to make a veteran and then take the loyalty marker for that one.
I'll grab the 20th.
All right, so to flip her over and go grab yourself the loyalty marker, and then it sounds like you're going to disband it anyway. So I'm going to pop that over here.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to disband it.
No, not going to disband it. Sorry. You're just reminding us that you indeed needed to get a loyalty marker. So good. Okay, not disbanding, but otherwise not going to play any other cards?
Correct.
Cool. Moving on clockwise. Numerous Aurelius, any cards from you?
No, thank you.
I'm going to ask the question. I can see there's no cards from people. Quintus Octavius, but I'll ask you, no, nothing to play. Appius Rufius, again, nothing to play. Tiberius Cornelius, would you like to play any concessions or statesmen at this point in time?
Yeah, I want to play a statesman.
Uh-huh. So let's just double check what he's playing. 23 Alpha, Middle Republic. And I don't think nobody else is going to have the 23 family senator yet. We haven't seen many Middle Republic family senators come out. So he is legally playing Publius Popilius Lanus, and he has the may veto 1 land bill per turn without the use of a tribune card. Very, very specific type of veto. Interesting there. Military rating 2, oratory 5. So that's quite a number of extra votes there that you're going to add on to your already monster number of votes. So quite the command there. It's really good. And finally, let's finish off with Aquila and Marquedia. Are you going to play any cards, concessions, or statesmen at this point in time? You're on mute, just to let you know, just in case you want to talk.
Yes, I'm going to play a statesman as well.
Oh,
now that
cool.
I can, because somebody died.
Nice. You're waiting for somebody to die, and we got 19 Alpha, which is Lucas Emilius Paulus Macedonicus. Yes, nullifies disaster standoff numbers on the Macedonian Wars, but not any leaders. Military rating 5, very strong
And
individual.
once that revives, they get
4 oratory,
I
so
would
it's
just
another
like to
4 to your
point out
vote tally, which is
something.
very good. Loyalty of 8, so pretty hard one to pull away.
Yes,
Um,
Machiavelli may take the family card, by the way, immediately because it is
Once it's
hanging around
revived.
in Korea.
Yes, once it's revived, yes, that card will come back into your hand. So keep an eye out for those family cards as they get revived. That is correct, people.
I would just like to point out for all the players involved that 23A has a 0 loyalty rating, I believe, due to 7A being in play.
Let's have a look. So Gracchus, now 7A in the same faction.
Yes.
Yes, interesting. So true. So Popilius Lanus has 0 loyalty, as does Fulvius Flaccus, has 0 rating because they're in the same faction. Interesting. There you go. Now that doesn't remove the aligned loyalty bonus. That is still there.
Yeah.
That is still there. It's just that the base loyalty number of that card is 0. That's a very determinate observation. Well done. All right, let's move on with the rest of the Revolution phase. From here, we can see here, each player with more than 5 cards discards those exceeding. Thankfully, nobody has more than 5, which is good. And then we can talk about Declaration of Rebellion. Here, this didn't work out in our favour last time, but we're coming back over to Marcus Decimus in particular. And I guess the question also has to be asked of governors as well. They get this opportunity. Of course, Marcus Decimus has the opportunity to check for little legions, regardless of whether he plans to rebel or not. But nonetheless, I'll hand the floor over to him now.
I wish to return to Rome peacefully.
Nice. And I think Rome has a big sigh of relief with that. So please let us return the legions to the active forces pool. And yes, we can remove our away from Rome marker as well. Fantastic. The little bag up there next to the war exhaustion markers is the one you're looking for.
I got to remember where all this stuff is again.
Good. So our victorious Rome consul has returned to Rome. Most excellent. And I guess let's go around the governors and just double check that none of the governors are planning to rebel. So first of all, Marquedia Papirius in Hispania Ulteria. I'm assuming you're not planning to rebel. Cool. Julius in Hispania Quiterio, I'm assuming you're not planning to rebel there, Tiberius Cornelius?
Correct.
Good. Over to Sardinia et Corsica with Appius Rufius. Emilius. Is he looking to rebel as a governor? Appius Rufius?
He's dead, I believe.
Why do you ask me? I don't have a governor. Appius Rufius doesn't have a governor.
Aren't you the governor? Who owns Emilius? Maybe that's the wrong marker.
Emilius died.
Emilius is dead. Oh, we should have removed this.
Oh, we should remove. Right. So we have. Emilius died in the battle, so we need to bring that province back. Good. Good thing we do this check, folks. That's good.
Technically, Sardinia et Corsica would technically have been a rebelled governorship then too, would it not?
And that is correct. It was in rebellion. Yes.
It was not in a rebellion. Yeah,
he was the secondary rebel.
Yeah, but he was
that
killed off
goes
and
back
then
to the forum now.
And he'd go back to the.
It was just something we forgot. No biggie. It was just we forgot to pull him off when he died in the outcome of the civil war there. That's okay. Let's check with Fabius. Are you rebelling?
No, but I would also just like to state for people putting away their white chips, put it 1, not 0. That put them in the bag.
There you go. Nice tip. All right, and there we go. So we've now, let's check our victory or loss condition. So we can confirm that Rome only has 3 active, albeit unprosecuted wars sitting in the active wars box. We have 1 inactive war now, so that's not counting to our tally. So Rome survives on a war perspective. We've got money in the treasury. The unrest level is more or less under control, moving into the next phase. And we defeated the rebel that was on the field. So we are okay. We survive. We move on to another turn and commence turn 8 and with the mortality phase. Absolutely brilliant to get through that last turn. That was hectic, to say the least. So as we know, we draw 2 mortality chits in the mortality phase to confirm whether somebody gets an elder or dies. And the honour, I think, we're going to give to Appius Rufius this time to draw those 2 mortality chits, considering the amount of death that's been caused, so he can have the privilege. So the bad numbers today are going to be 14, and we need one more, I think.
Oof.
14 and 23. Does anybody own those senators?
I have a
Goodbye.
14.
I've got 23.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're both naked, and I go looking at just adding an elder token at the moment. So just
Yeah.
both an elder token for both of you. So that's not too bad. You haven't lost any senators. Just do some aging, and fair enough that Aurelius has aged after what he's just been through.
Yeah.
So
The
get some
amount of
grey hairs.
the amount of slaughtered Romans I have seen.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and I guess, ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, we're going to round up today's session there. I think we all need a break after that. Incredible session, and I'm hoping those that are watching live have enjoyed it. I'm going to do my normal end of session recap, but for now, we're going to say goodbye to our senators. So if I have all my senators say Walete,
Valete.
and we'll see you all, I think, next week at this stage on our new time slot here on a Sunday evening Australian Eastern Time. But if you're watching live now or on YouTube, stick around and we'll be right back. Don't go away. All right. We are now back for our end of session recap. I tell you what, wow. that was a stressful session to watch, even though I was not playing myself. And first of all, I just want to say hats off, helmets off, potentially, to Appius Rufius for giving us a really entertaining session there. Certainly, it is not very common at all in the sessions that I run to see a rebellion and to see a very strong rebellion as well. But it was just everything about the whole lead up and up to this point, it was just so well played. Even that assassination attempt there, albeit against the poor Quintus Octavius, and Fabius there, who was just appointed dictator, and a well-timed, brilliantly poignant assassination just made it just that much harder for the Senate to think about a resolution moving forwards into the combat phase. So that again was well played. So the experience there of Appius Rufius is really coming through, and certainly he's played many of these games in the past. So he's been a great addition to this group. And we thank him for joining us, because he is not based in Australia. He's based in overseas in Germany, and so he takes time out of the middle of his day to join us. So, and he is delivered, absolutely delivered. So that's really good. But look, the Senate made some really tough choices this round. They sacrificed the field console there because they weren't planning to send the consoles off in that particular order. They're going to be relying on the dictator, but not so. In the end, they had to sort of force the field console to go off to his death, so they could put the higher strength Rome console on against the Civil War, which came out to be quite a tidy victory in the end there. That was good. Look, I thought it was a risk there with the provincial war, so they were relying on the victory of the governor Fabius in Sicilia to get a victory, and he did. And he did very well and got that victory there. Minor losses, I think, in the end. I would have been very much inclined to put at least one garrison legion in there to absolutely assure that victory. But as the Senate was articulating, particularly coming out of Marcus Decimus, they wanted to make sure they were 100% going to defeat that rebellion there. So that was tough. Lots of wars on the table. They're down to 3 again now. So that means they'll be able to consider another dictatorship appointment come around the next turn there. A lot of losses, a lot of other death on the table. So Appius Rufius is down to 1 senator. We'll just have to check our rules too about whether, I think it may be just a total senators in Rome. If that reduces less than 8, then the faction with the least amount of senators will then be able to draw from the Curia. But I think he just otherwise sits with 1 senator for the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how Appius Rufius plays now, and whether the Senate now provides him some leniency now that I guess he has suffered the consequences of the failed rebellion, and whether now Appius Rufius can build himself back up to find another way of achieving victory, or whether now he'll just stir the pot. Who knows? Who knows what he'll do? I'll tell you what, the strength there of the Corona faction on Tiberius Cornelius Australia is incredibly strong. He's got such a commanding number of votes there now. And plus, he got the opportunity to play another statesman. Now, interesting there, we saw is because of his 2 statesmen, they now have 0 loyalty. That does potentially open him up to persuasion attempts against his faction. It'll be interesting to see how much money he's got saved up in the faction treasury to defend against those. But otherwise, he's in a powerful position while he still has those. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And we also saw Marta Coedia with the Aquila faction also play a statesman, which is quite good. So that'll bolster her strength as well. So we see both the Corona and Aquila faction, really powerful factions now, commanding a lot of votes there. Albeit Marcus Decimus still has quite a number of votes there as well, partly because of his combination of his knights and oratory there. So that's all very interesting. I was pleased to see that Tiberius Cornelius is all for one about seeing the longevity of the game, and I've certainly appreciated his style and his fervour for Rome. But now that we've seen the latest events, will Tiberius Cornelius think about trying to push Scipio Africanus towards a consul for life appointment? Will his mind change? Who knows? Are there other contenders out there in the field that are close? Yes, there is. Certainly, we can see there with Furious with his 26 influence under Marcus Decimus. So we've technically got 2 eligible candidates for consul for life on the field. We can see that Junius is not far behind from Numerius Aurelius's faction to also lead up there, but no one faction controls enough of the votes to push an election for consul for life across the line, unless, of course, some players decide that they've are interested to see the end of this game, and then we see, say, Corona and the Aquila faction team up in terms of votes, then we might see a successful vote outcome for consul for life. But it'd be interesting to run the numbers. 30 votes plus 21 votes for the Corona faction. Is that enough to monster the rest of the votes on the field to allow him to point for consul for life? Maybe. I've got to run the numbers. That would be interesting to see. But otherwise, for the moment, he remains wanting to see the longevity of this game. Well, I think that concludes the summary. I think that was pretty comprehensive. A shorter session in terms of the amount of the phases that we stepped through, but I think we all need a rest after that incredible session. Hey, look, it's been great that you've been able to join us on this new Sunday night sessions now, and we hope to play more regularly at this regular Sunday night session. Otherwise, you'll be watching this on YouTube in the future. Drop us a subscribe, or even leave a comment on how you found today's session. It'd be great to hear your feedback. Otherwise, come and check us out at Nova Roma, or join our Discord and novaroma.org. This has been absolutely brilliant. I am Decimus Aurelius, and you've been watching the Nova Roma Twitch channel. Thanks again to our senators in the background, and thanks for you for watching. And until next time, Walete.